and friends, happy Fri-YAY! Oh my gosh, I have such a fun card for you today. We're going to be making a brick laying card using some punches, 2 punches, and a brand new stamp set, all aflutter. And it definitely is that. And we're using some wow new velvet DSP. So let's get started. Okay, so here is the stamp set we're going to be using, the all aflutter stamp set. It has a coordinating punch which punches these out, and I have some great tips for you on that. Some super cute sentiments, so I can't wait to show you that. We're going to be featuring this awesome DSP. Now I have to zoom in and get real close so I can show you, number one, how beautiful these colors are, bright and happy, but there are these velvet, so like a soft velvet accents on here. So it's almost like it's flocked, right? With that velvet on there on this specialty DSP. And the patterns in here are so fun, so beautiful, and the colors are just some of my favorites for sure. So we're going to be using that. We're also going to be using another one of our new rounded rectangle punches. So we're going to be doing that. And let me show you the card. I know you're dying to see it. It is a fun bricklaying card with a fun punch out right in there for us, and those beautiful butterflies and some really fun new bling that we have, some embellishments. So let's get started. Before we do that though, as a reminder, here is my blog, my website, stampingqueenbee.com, where you can find all of the step-by-step instructions, the measurements, the supply list, all the things for today's card so that you can just watch with enjoyment and not have to write any of those down. You can sign up on my blog for my weekly Buzz Bulletin. That's my email that goes out each week with that free PDF for you to download, print, put in your idea book for lots of inspiration, and you can save it and have all of those ready to go. Okay. All that's out of the way, now we can get crafty and get started, right? So we're gonna start with some stamping because I really wanna share with you some of these fun tips on these beautiful butterflies. So I purposely have not put them on blocks yet because I want to show you some things. So we're gonna be using a few of these butterflies today. So I'm just gonna peel back that thin piece and I'm going to remove this kind of this outlined butterfly. So a couple of things on it. This is going to be able to be punched out with our punch. All 3 will individually punch out. You've kind of got like a small, a medium, and a large by the one swipe of the punch, which I absolutely love. So what is great about that is it does that. But if your stamps, so our photopolymer stamps, right, they are bendable. And so if it's off at all, the punch out won't be correct and you'll miss parts of your butterfly. So my tip for that is every time we have a punch like this, I create a punch template. So it's nothing more than a piece of cardstock that I have written punch template on it, but that's not really important. And I have taken my punch and punched out that shape. Now, when I have my stamp, what I will do is I will stick my stamp in those grooves of the punch. So I can kind of feel the groove of that. And so I'm just lining these butterflies up in those little grooves. And so now I know that my punch will be lined up once I stamp that. So I'll have that there, and then I will grab my block. Let's see, I have a couple here. Yep, that one will work. So again, I'll just make sure it didn't move or adjust. Well, if I push it, it'll adjust, right? And then I'll just grab my block and pick that right up. And you'll see, now I know it hasn't moved or adjusted or anything. So my little punch template, I just keep right inside my envelope. So every time that I use this, I know, oh, there's a punch that goes with it. So that helps with that. And also it's just right there ready for me to go. So I'm gonna grab some Berry Burst here first, and we will ink this up. And we'll stamp a few of these just so you can see how fun and easy. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I love these in Berry Burst. Okay, so then we're going to grab some bubble bath and we're gonna do the same thing. So we're gonna bring in our punch template again. I've got my stamps and we're gonna use this solid image one. So we're gonna grab that. And again, we're just gonna stick this in the grooves of our punch template here. There we go. And we'll grab a new block, put that right on top, pick it up, and now I know it will fit just right. So then I'm gonna ink this up in Bubble Bath. Love our Bubble Bath. We're gonna do one stamped full strength and one stamped off. So we're just gonna line this up right over. And beautiful how that fills it in, right? And I'm gonna go for a really light version here and stamp it again. I didn't ink up again. And now we have kind of like a really light filled in version of our butterflies. Now here's where the fun is because it's so quick to punch these out. So we'll just glide that right in. Let's do this one first. We'll glide that right in and line it up just like so. Sorry if that was loud. Just like so, and there we have our 3 butterflies. Now this one, you see I stamped it a little bit higher up. So I'm just gonna grab my snips here and kind of trim off this little corner so I can get my punch in there lined up just right. And punch it again. And now we have all these butterflies. How easy is that, right? To have those just punched out, super fun. I love punch cards. That's kind of what today's is, right? So let's bring in that beautiful DSP again. Put these to the side. Now we're going to, I have a couple that are already, that I've already been using. So we're gonna use these 2 real quick. And actually this one. And I'm gonna bring in that rounded rectangle punch because this is gonna become like those bricks of our brick laid punch card here. And look how easy this is. So we're just gonna take this punch and we're just gonna go all the way. We're gonna line them up pretty close to each other. And we're gonna get 5 of these across a 12 by 12 sheet. Fit perfectly. Lovely, right? So once we have those done, I've already done them in a bunch of different patterns. So let me just bring those up for us. So these are all the different patterns that are in this DSP pack. And so you can really see those velvet kind of textured layers. I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but they're soft and flocked and so beautiful in each sheet. So we have all of those ready to go. And then we're gonna punch one more. I've already done that for us with our bubble bath. And then I'm gonna grab, so we can do our sentiment here, our Berry Burst again. And the cutest sentiment, fluttering by to say hi. We're just going to stamp this on that bubble bath that we punched out. So that'll be our sentiment. Okay, so now we've got our parts and pieces all ready for us. We're gonna grab a card base, and you could use a color here, but I really thought the white in the DSP popped so good. So we're gonna use a thick basic white card base here, and it's already cut and scored for us. And I'm just going to burnish that across And there we have our card base. Now this card, you could do it vertical or horizontal. Either way would work. We're gonna do horizontal today. So I'm just gonna grab that punch once again, and no matter where you put it, doesn't matter. And we're just gonna put it all the way up and punch it out of the front of our card base. So we've got that kind of peekaboo hole there. Now save this piece because this makes a great sentiment piece later for another card. So now we have our card base here. I'm gonna open it flat while we do our brick laying here. But before that, let's just go ahead and put our sentiment in. So I've got my liquid glue. Just gonna go ahead and add a bit of that to our sentiment piece, and we're just gonna tuck it right where we punched out. It's the same size, right? So we're just going to kind of push it through so it's exactly where our peekaboo punch is. So our sentiment will just show through, and when they open it, it'll be your inside sentiment as well. So it's kind of perfect fit there, right? Okay, now I'm gonna open this up and we're gonna start our bricklaying. So you can start with any of the pieces. I usually start with like, ooh, what do I think is just the one I wanna focus on, right? So I really love all the prints, but this berry burst with, you know, I love pink. So the berry burst with the bubble bath and the daffodil delight that's in here, it's just so pretty. So we want these to hang over the edge a little bit. I'm just leaving a little bit of space between where I punched out here and this piece. And I always kind of start with this row where I punched this out, because then it will line everything up as I go through my bricklaying, right? Like we've got our straight line here. So then again, I'm just gonna put this one right there. And now we can start doing our next row and our other pieces. So let's grab one of these. And so we're just adding our liquid glue here. You can bring in your silicone mat if you want, so it doesn't get all over. And then this one, we're just gonna kind of put it so it's kind of offset, right, from this punch out here. Go ahead and add that one, and we'll continue our row here. So let's do one of these beautiful green pieces. These colors just really go so well together. When I saw this DSP, I was like, oh, gotta have it, right? It's all I love pink, so it is a perfect fit, right? Okay, so then now we're just gonna kind of alternate through. So let's do this one next. And remember, they're gonna hang off the edge at first. That's okay. We want to get them adhered, and then we'll just trim off any of the excess. Okay, so then we'll take this pretty leaf part, right? And we'll go ahead and add that one there. And I'm just lining this up like with this row here and kind of looking at my spacing to line all that up. All right, then we can do this one next. And notice I'm just kind of putting my glue where I think it needs to be for, you know, we don't need glue down here. We're just gonna trim that off. So add that there. And the silicone mat underneath is great because if anything squishes out or whatnot, then it's okay. I think we'll do this one next. And this one you can actually even just put the liquid glue right on the card base, right? There we go. Okay, now we're gonna do this top row. So for the, oops, make sure it sticks good, right? So for this top row, I just folded my card underneath, and that way it won't stick to the back side, right? So we'll just, this one's gonna go just like so. So we'll just go ahead and put that there, a little bit of liquid glue. Now this top row, since it is skinny, you want to kind of hold it there an extra few seconds so that it really adheres good before we move on, right? Okay, then we'll do this next one. Now, if you're making a bunch of these, when we trim these off, you'll want to save your excess pieces, because what we trim off here on a second card, this top part could go down at the bottom. So your extra scraps that we trim off, you can use again and again. And let's see, let's do, which one? Eeny, meeny, miny. Let's do this one. And we'll just add a little bit here and stick that one down. And this works so good with any DSP, right? Like, you can repeat this. It's great for scraps. If you have little scraps that you can take your punch and just go through. Now I can make another card with all my leftover punched out pieces here. So I'll just put those aside. We'll give this a second to just stay stuck, right? And then we're gonna open this up. Now you see it's much bigger, so we wanna trim this off. So you wanna just flip it over so that you have the back side, and we're just gonna follow along the edge of our card base here. So we're just going to trim off using that card base as our guide, and just trim all these little edges. So like this one's a very little edge, but we're just gonna trim any of that kind of excess off. Okay, and then we'll do this side, and then we'll do the top there. And one more here. There we go. And then we'll close it up so we can do this top row. And so again, we're just using that top of the card as our guide to trim these off. Beautiful. Okay, so then we'll save those pieces, because see there, a lot of them are real big. We can use those on another card for this top and bottom row, depending on how you line that up. They fit really good for using up those scraps. Isn't that pretty? I think it's such a pretty brick-lay card, right? So now let's go ahead and add our butterflies. So let me bring in some Stampin' Dimensionals here. And we're just gonna add, where's my little bowl? Don't want backings everywhere, right? So this bigger one here, I really liked adding it to this corner here, and it just kind of peeks over. So you just wanna make sure, now see I did that wrong, but you wanna make sure that our dimensional doesn't hang over, because you don't want it to close our card shut, right? There we go. So now it's not. There we go. How cute, right? Okay, so then let's take our other two. So let's get one of these lighter ones and a darker one. And we'll just go ahead and add one here and one of the lighter ones right next to it. I kind of liked putting two together there. And there we go. So then these I can use on my next card as well. So we've got those. How pretty, those butterflies. They just flutter right by to say hi, right? Now let's finish with some super cute new embellishments. These are called Dreamy Flowers, and they are in white, in the Bubble Bath pink, and then in this Berry Burst. So we're gonna use the Berry Burst today because I thought those were so fun. And so we'll just grab 3 of these. So we've got a big one here and a smaller one right below, and we'll put one more smaller one kind of up in our piece here. Aren't those cute? I love those. It's kind of a different embellishment. So very pretty. So that is our fun card. You could add a little butterfly inside if you wanted, but I kind of like this one peeking over there. So let me zoom in a little so you can really see how pretty those are. So fluttering by to say hi. I hope you enjoyed today's fun punch card. Grab those punches and do some bricklaying with your DSP, and you will be so wowed by how fun and easy these cards come together. And I hope you loved those punch out tips with lining up those photopolymer stamps that sometimes can get wonky, right? If they get out of shape. So using that punch template has been a game changer for me, and I hope it is for you too. Have a great Friday, and I'll see you guys next week.